Welcome to Energy Careers, a segment of the Energy Conversations podcast dedicated to exploring opportunities in the dynamic world of the energy sector. For 13 years, I've had the privilege of navigating this sector, and it has significantly shaped my professional and entrepreneurial journey. Join me as we uncover exciting pathways for those interested in making their mark in this exciting sector. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Energy Careers segment of the Energy Conversations podcast, where we spotlight the diverse career opportunities within the energy sector and hear from professionals across various disciplines. Whether you are just starting out or looking to transition into the energy industry, this segment is designed to provide you with valuable insights and guidance. Today, we will be speaking to Chanda Nxumalo, Khaya Mbatha, Garth Greubel, and Penelope Herbst, who will share their experiences and offer advice on navigating the energy landscape. Let's dive into their pathways that can help you shape your career in this exciting and evolving field. Chanda, I'd like to start with you, please. Please share your energy journey. How did you get involved in the energy sector? What did you study? And what has been your career path up until this point?
Sure. I studied engineering, economics, and management at the University of Oxford. And after it, had no idea what I was going to do. So got a role with a wind turbine operations and maintenance company who basically had signed up for a government scheme that placed graduates with renewable energy companies. And I was 21 and thought it was a great idea to be shipped off to the US to set up a whole business. And was there for about 2 years. And yeah, I've stayed in the renewable energy sector ever since, with a combination of technical and business development, commercial work in various places. So started in the US, then in the UK, and then eventually moved to South Africa when they announced the feed-in tariff in 2009 that was then removed.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Chanda. Khaya, if I can hear from you, please. How did you get involved in the energy sector? What did you study, and what has been your career path up to this point?
Thank you, Togo. In my previous life, I worked as an exploration geologist who studied geology up to honors level. Worked 10 years as an exploration geologist all over multiple commodities and multiple countries, and all over Africa and the Middle East. Multiple commodities, but I'd always been interested in coal. I guess it's the energy-related minerals, not too much. For the consultancy we had opportunities to choose. Someone to gold exploration, everything else. For some reason, I was always attracted to coal bed methane, all of your energy-related commodities. So yeah, I worked 10 years. At some point, I just got bitten by the green economy in 2016. I think must have been my Damascus moment where I converted from drilling holes into the earth, drilling holes and drilling boreholes for coal. But I just wanted to now change and be the other person and attracted to clean energy. But I almost went to ECT for it, to do my master's in the MSc in energy studies. But decided later on to go to WETS. WETS has a multidisciplinary degree, a master's degree. It's Master of Architecture, Masters of Architecture in Sustainable and Energy Efficiency. Studied the masters where I studied my masters there, where my thesis was around third-party whaling. So basically, essentially studying trading. Third-party grid access, and case study was Nelson Mandela Bay and Bio2Watt and Roslyn, that wheeling transaction between the biogas plant and Bio2Watt the wheeling transaction between that entity and BMW Roslyn. So those two wheeling transactions, at the time, they were the only transactions that were happening. And when I did my interview with PowerX, as Tembano was the head of electricity at NERSA previously, so I had an interview with him and started working with PowerX from when I finished my master's. So that's how I got to the energy trading space from geology. Don't regret anything from there.
Wow, that's quite an interesting journey. Garth, if I can ask you, please, how did you get involved in the energy sector? What did you study, and what has been your career path up to this point?
So I originally trained as a lawyer, but for the bulk of my career, which is a module banking and financial markets background, I've worked, I suppose, at the confluence of mathematics and economics and law. I, at a point, joined Eskom in the Treasury. That's where Penny and I were colleagues. And that then opened my eyes up to the whole electricity sector, which I found absolutely fascinating. After I left Eskom, I then started a trader, which ultimately got a license from NERSA. And I sold that about 2 years ago to go and study engineering full-time. I decided that I needed to, that was where the interesting component of it was for me. There's a problem that I was wanting to try and solve. And so late in life, I got into engineering studies. And I'm doing that full-time.
Wow, I love that. Thank you for that. I've also, my background is also in law, and I've always felt like the engineers actually have more fun in the sector, and I've been tempted and been thinking maybe I should become an engineer, and you've shown me that that's actually possible at any point.
A lot of short-term courses you can do, actually.
Oh, perfect.
But you don't, I mean, they're more technical courses, but you don't have to be an engineer necessarily to do them. I started like that, actually, and then decided this is what I wanted to pursue.
Thank you for that. I definitely, I'll be in touch to find out more around those. Penny, how did you get involved in the energy sector? What did you study, and what has been your career path up until this point?
Yeah, so thanks for that question. I studied finance with quantitative management and business and economics. And I was very fortunate that at the time I was busy studying, Eskom was looking for new intake, and I joined Eskom in the environmental impact control division. So not what I was studying, but kind of I got a good sense of environmental issues, bag filters and precipitators and things like that. And Eskom was quite strong on those things in those years. That was the early 80s. I migrated to quite quickly to have a look at human resources and human resources planning. Did that kind of in terms of where energy was being expanded, fossil fuels. And then from there, I moved for most of my career into Treasury. Treasury, I started out looking at tender evaluation, then migrated onto interest and currency risk management, where I guess I can call myself a bit of a reformed trader, because I was a foreign exchange trader, trading in a lot of, doing a lot of Forex trading, and understanding how markets work, and where the benefits of markets lie. So I'm coming at it a bit from that side as well. And then as we came out of, had more access to financial markets as well, established the interest and currency risk division within Eskom. So I managed Eskom's foreign exchange risk and interest rate risk for a large amount of time. Also then migrated into a number of also financial transactions at Eskom, looking at specific financialized transactions, and really thinking through some of those financialization issues and having huge questions as to where the benefit really lies. And worked on a transaction in Uganda. Sorry, this is a bit long, but worked on a grid transaction in Uganda, where I realized that there are a lot of questions as to where justness lies as far as the energy sector is concerned, especially in the extraction of quite substantial profits, and where those profits don't necessarily get ploughed back into the same environment, but get extracted elsewhere. Then I started to establish the development finance division within Eskom, and raised for my sins a lot of finance for Medupi, from the World Bank and the African Development Bank. But some of that included some funds for Eskom's renewable projects, which was supposed to be a CSP plant and a wind plant. CSP didn't get built, but we built Sierra. After I left Eskom in 2015, I took early retirement. I worked as an accreditation panel member of the Green Climate Fund, the Clean Climate Fund in Korea, working on accreditation frameworks, learned a lot about what investors require, which again is kind of framing some of my inputs. And since working on that, I've also was involved in some early research for energy trading, which I left in 2020. And since then, I have been involved in looking at just elements. I was a team member of the Presidential Task Team on Climate Finance in 2021, also raising, I think, more questions than answers. And that's my forte, I think, at this stage. Just say, okay, where are we going? Let's not just look at the answers. Let's look at the questions as well to get to the answers. Yeah, so that's me in brief. Thanks.
Thank you for that, Penny. Quite the exciting journey you have. I think I could summarize you as being a financier with heart, who's kind of seen it from different elements, and I suppose asks the questions that a lot of South Africans or a lot of people aren't in the position to ask, simply because they just don't have the knowledge and the experience. So thank you very much for that. And then I'd like to ask each of our guests just what is the one piece of advice that they would give to their younger versions at the beginning of their careers, or at an earlier stage in their career, that as you stand today, you believe this would have been such a critical piece of advice to have been given at an earlier stage in your career. Chanda, if I can start with you, what is the one piece of advice that you would give to younger you?
It's a piece of advice I give to, we have a lot of graduates in our company, and I give it to them as well. I think do the uncool, unsexy jobs, because everybody wants the cool stuff. And that's not really where you learn. So put your hand up for whatever there is. And I think try and learn and get as much exposure and experience as possible. And don't think that you're going to be promoted within 5 minutes of joining the sector. There's a lot of information and a lot of knowledge and experience that you kind of need to gain. So take the time to do that and learn, and yeah, do the weird and wonderful things.
Thank you for that, Chanda. Really great advice. Khaya, what is the one piece of advice that you would give to younger you?
I think hindsight being 2020 vision, knowing what I know now, in terms of career, what I always gave to the current career guidance day, the younger ones, when the guys ask me, so when I do this, when I do these subjects, when I study this, what am I going to be? I actually, in all honesty, don't know what you can be. Is that your job probably hasn't been created. You create the job that you'll be in. Look at it now in energy trading. I thought as a geologist, I'd be a geologist, mining geology, or as an engineer, this is where you'd be as an engineer. But look at the careers we have now, and I can only imagine going 10 years, 5 years from now, if there's an energy podcast. And this is in fact one of the things that I was thought of, not an energy, that if there could be a group of doctors that could form a podcast, do consultation, whatever. So I think the career paths are very tricky. If I were to go back, I would have defined myself differently, that as a geologist, I'm not necessarily going to go into a mine. I'm not going to go into, I could do anything with the knowledge I have, with the knowledge, gather as much information as I can get. Maybe study geology we had careers at RAU at the time. It was geology with financial orientation that would always, but we thought it was too much work. Geology with law orientation, so that always gave you an option that you're a modern day geologist. You're not a geologist that just knows only rocks or mining, but you can interpret the law, you can understand the law, and that sort of just broadens you up and opens you up and makes you so much around that you can fit into anywhere. You could be in energy trading, you could be talking about the legalese around it, you could be talking about the finances around it. So yeah, that's what I told my younger self, that the job that you'll be in is the one that you create. There is no job for you waiting.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. And very true. I think, a lot of these jobs that are existing now didn't exist. And I guess as a young person, it's to be open and to not be stuck in the, when I grow up, I want to be a lawyer or I want to be an engineer. Just when I grow up, I want to be open enough to take up the opportunities that are presented to me. And I think, to Chanda's point, for you to be able to evolve and adapt in your career, it is then to, when you do find yourself in a job, do the dirty work, learn, gain that experience, because as you gain that experience, then you kind of then position yourself to be able to pivot should you ever need to pivot in your career. Garth, if I can ask you, what is the one piece of advice that you would give to younger you?
I think I'm going to give a different version of Khaya's answer, actually. And for me, it's about ignoring the labels. So don't say I want to be a lawyer or an engineer or an accountant or something, but look through that to what actually gets you excited. I mentioned earlier that for me, for the bulk of my career, I worked in the place where maths and economics and law come together. And if that then is the thing that interests you and where your passion is, that you can apply in a number of places. You can apply it in corporate finance or in financial markets or in a commercial role. But if you see yourself as a lawyer or an accountant or an engineer, I think it is limiting in terms of where you can potentially go. And you have to get driven by what excites you and not by the box you fit into.
I love that. Thank you so much. I guess, yeah, it's not about fitting into any box, because the boxes are there to prevent us, actually, I think, at times. So thank you for that, Garth. Penny, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give to younger you?
I think I've got similar advice as well. I would definitely say avoid labels. So, I don't think the current environment provides for labels. I mean, there's a big change, since I was, started my career 40 years ago. And let me not make myself older than I am or than I look. Avoid labels and absolutely find your passion. Do not get stuck in a rut. If it doesn't fit you, give it time. Have a look, work in the unsexy environments, as I think Chanda said, but find your passion. Because if you don't have the passion, you just not, you spend most of your life doing what you're going to be doing, right, in work. Then honestly, and another thing, it can't be a 9-to-5 thing as well either, guys. I think, as we all know, this is kind of an all of an hour's day. I remember in my days, I would make sure I got to work before my seniors, and I would leave work afterwards. After they'd left, I left, and that maybe was a privilege that I could actually do, especially from an Eskom point of view. And I would say, read, guys. Do your research. Make sure you're up to date. And that's why it's got to be a passion, because you're not going to be reading and researching. I'm not saying don't have a personal life, but it's got to be passion, and you've got to be drawn by it. Don't waste your life doing stuff you don't want to do, and also recognize that over the various kind of stages in your life, you might be passionate about different things. And this is kind of where I find myself. I was really passionate about foreign exchange trading when I was younger, but I kind of grew to understand what the markets look like, and I'm in a different space, and I'm more comfortable saying, okay, but what if? So there would be different, again, so don't pigeonhole one thing, one label, but don't pigeon yourself over time as well. give yourself time to evolve, develop, and find different niches at different times of your life. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much for that advice. And again, I think it really echoes to what has been shared in this segment, and that is follow your passion. Follow your passion. You know, we pour ourselves into our work daily. Let it at least be a place that you enjoy, because then it won't feel like work. I think you know, if you find yourself in the beautiful space of being able to do something you enjoy, it then just becomes part of your life. And that wraps up this edition of the Energy Careers segment. We hope you've gained some valuable insights into opportunities and career paths that are available within the energy sector. Remember that the energy sector is vast and constantly evolving, offering countless ways for you to be able to participate and make an impact. Thank you to our guests for sharing their experiences, and stay tuned for more inspiring career stories and advice in future episodes. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing forward in your energy career journey. Thank you for tuning into Energy Careers, where we explore the endless possibilities in the energy sector. Don't miss out on future episodes where we'll feature more inspiring journeys and insights on how to embark on your own energy career path. Subscribe now to the Energy Conversations podcast and unlock the door to exciting opportunities in the dynamic world of energy. Your journey begins here.